Okay, so let's start by defining data. What is data? So dictionary definitions, data is a token of value encoded into information. Another way to say that is data is a value assigned to a thing. And so I like to think of it, though, from a practical perspective, as a field in a spreadsheet, as an actual record item in a spreadsheet. And so why is data important? Data structures information so people can use it to create knowledge, right? So we have all of this information coming to us. Maybe let's talk about messages or experiences or photos, observations of any type. This is all a huge amount of information. And so when that data structures that information, data is structured information so it can be analyzed better by computers and also by humans, maybe without computers. And so we do that so that we can build knowledge, build insights, figure things out, and build like a familiarity and awareness or an understanding about a thing. So there are different types of data. There's qualitative data, which refers to the quality of something. So this is kind of a descriptive type of data where you can describe the taste of something, sweet or savory. It can be a narrative basically. It's not so easy to quantify, right? And because the other type of data is quantitative data, and this refers to a number. So you might say, I had some ramen and it was delicious ramen, and it was sweet and it was spicy. There was an egg in it. If you wanted to talk quantitatively about that ramen, you might say, there was one egg in the ramen. It weighed, half a pound of noodles, how much, a quart of water. These are numbers that are used to describe exactly like what that thing is. And then there's categorical data, and these are terms that are often, that are defined by a taxonomy, which can be formal or informal, and they are used to classify stuff. So it could be new or old. It could be the ramen could be hot. It could be warm. It could be cold. Right. New, old, inactive, active, things like that. So common data so a common way you see data, and particularly when we were talking about definition of data as something with as a value, we often see data as a key value pair. And so the key defines what is being described and the value does the describing. And so if we took a piece of unstructured information, like, this person's name is Jane and she lives in Brooklyn, if we were going to turn that into a key value pair, the key here would be name. There'd be two keys, name and borough. The key would be name. Jane would be the value of the name. The borough is the key. Brooklyn is the value. And so we like to see data often as a grid, but computers don't see grids. They just see text. And so one very popular way to input data into computers is a CSV formatted data, and that stands for comma separated value. So in this representation here, name comma Brooklyn, Jane comma name comma borough, Jane comma Brooklyn, is how a computer would see the structured data in the middle in the table. So there are other data formats beyond CSV. CSV is in the left. CSV, XLS, and ODF. These are all data formats that are used in spreadsheets. Then in the middle, XML, RSS, and ICS. These are data formats. They're based off XML that are used in kind of older applications often. RSS readers use XML, this type of these news readers of the past. You might have remembered Google. What was it? Google Reader, great app, no longer exists. Google Calendar uses iCal feeds, so that's a data format that's shared between Google and Apple and many other calendar and Outlook calendaring applications, so that they can all exchange information about events. And JSON is kind of a newer type of data format. You can see it can be displayed in a more elegant way, right? If you look at CSVs on the left, you can't really understand what's going on. XML is even less explanatory, but JSON can be viewed in a way that's relatively easy to understand, where the bold stuff are the keys and the stuff to the right of the bold are values. And so computers are reading these different data formats so that they can deliver us a visualization of that data in a way that's useful for us. So a grid table on the left, that's an Airtable application generated grid, but any spreadsheet, this is a common format of data, right, is the spreadsheet, is the grid. In the middle, we have a map. So if you have mappable information, like longitude and latitude, geocodes, then you can see data as a pin on a map often. And if you click on that pin, you can get more information about that location. And then to the right is something called a card. Cards are kind of, they can look like printed documents, basically. And they can be formatted in any way you want. And if you think about how you spend your time when you deal with data, most data that is delivered to you is coming in some type of, is coming in a grid, a map, or a card view. And so it's important to see those things as kind of, apps aren't that mysterious. They usually deliver data in kind of standard ways. And the other thing that apps do is they allow you to interact with data. And so the type of interaction that apps often allow you to do, or what you want to do, is called CRUD, and that stands for create, read, update, and delete. Like, that's the general set of interactions that are available for a piece of data. In the past, it was technically very difficult to create simple interfaces that allowed people to make their own data structures, like a spreadsheet, with the top row of a spreadsheet, formatting that, interact with those structures, with CRUD operations, and generate a pleasing and useful data view. So, right, we've had spreadsheets for a long time where you can do the first two things, create your own structure and interact and do CRUD operations on that structure. But only recently have you been able to turn those spreadsheet data into maps and into interesting graphical analysis charts and things like that, to really get value out of it. And today, thanks to DIY databases like Airtable, we can now do that. We can create, we can do all three of those operations just using spreadsheet skills, which allow you basically to build your own applications without having to code, which is very exciting.